Hi, John. How are you this week?
Hey, Elliot, doing well. Got our first snow of the winter. Not as much in Virginia as obviously our friends up the coast, but a little different weather for a change.
I saw this week a news article about the filing of a couple of lawsuits under the Anti-Terrorism Act. And these are the act, among many things, provides an avenue for U.S. victims of terrorism to file civil suits in the U.S. courts to try to recover damages. And these cases had to do with extremist violence in Israel that resulted in the death of a U.S. citizen in Israel. And they filed against three of Qatar's leading financial institutions, alleging that they secretly funneled millions of dollars to Palestinian groups. The groups that are the Palestinian groups are U.S. designated terrorist groups. And there's an element in here that's important, I think, for our conversation, and that is that the allegations in the complaint include the fact that the transfer of the funds, the supportive funds, were done under the guise of a Qatari charitable donations moved through the U.S. banking system and through putative charities. So that's a very long startup. I'm sorry for that, but it's a little complicated. I just wondered, did you see that article?
Yeah, I saw that, and I took a quick look at the complaint, but not in detail. And they did utilize a correspondent bank account in New York. What struck me, about this, and it's not whether or not the case should or should not be brought, but the issue that we've worked on for a number of years, and that is, as we know, charities have been unfortunately used to move funds to commit terrorist acts. And, it has resulted in some cases in a broad-based response from the financial sector to sort of characterize all charities in the same bucket, as you will, and all being the same level of risk, which isn't the case. And so when you see things like this, you hope the response of our community is to make sure that you consider each charity on its own face, so that you don't decide that this particular charity or charities that were used that's now in question is the same as, Syrian Relief or the Red Cross or any other groups that are helping humanitarian causes. So again, the use of the statute is interesting on the one hand. The connection to the U.S. is also interesting on the other. But the cautionary note, I think, for us in our community is just to ensure that we consider these things like I said, on their own merits. And that's been something, obviously, that we've worked with various groups, including the Charity and Security Network. So I'm sure these are the sorts of things that frustrate them, but probably not any differently than when an MSB is called out or a large international bank is called out, the reputation hit that people take. So that's why I thought it made sense for us to just spend a couple of minutes talking about it.
Yeah. The other thing, and again, it's not, I'm assuming it wasn't part of the decision of the plaintiffs to bring suit, but this is happening, with the backdrop of the change of administration, the complexity of the relationship among Mideastern countries. Qatar's been kind of on the outs with some of its neighbors for a while. So all of that kind of plays into this in a way that makes, kind of depending on where you sit and depending on what you're thinking about, really makes it complicated. But I think your point about making sure that something like this doesn't send everybody back to the view that all charities are high risk, that we really need to make a an assessment of the organizations we're working with, so that we know whether, we know how to identify truly high risk customers, and charities aren't any different than any other customers. You just have to ask the right questions and do the due diligence.
That's right. So the case was filed, or at least the reporting of it was on December 15th. The case is, I'm looking at it here, and I apologize if I'm not pronouncing it correctly, but Prez Wozman et al. Versus Qatar or Qatar Charity et al. Complaint. So it's worth a look. The Washington Post wrote about this in December 15th as well, and I think you can get some good information there, and we'll continue to follow this and other issues. We're not going to chat next week. Next week, people will be home for the holidays, but we will pick up again before the new year. And so, looking forward to talking again, Elliot.
Yeah, you and your family have happy holidays, and I look forward to kicking off 2021 on January 1st with you.
Great. Stay safe. Take care.
You too. Bye-bye.